So for wood cutting, there are a number of tools that you can choose from, but I really recommend two tools in particular. Some of you may already have a speedball linoleum cutter, and that's going to work fine for linoleum, but the blades are going to wear down really quickly on wood. It's probably your least desirable choice, and what I would recommend instead is either the Power Grip set of tools. It's a Japanese set of tools. It comes in a set of 5 or 7, and with the set of 7 you really don't get any more usable tools than the ones you're really going to primarily use with the set of 5, which are the V-gouge tool and then the 2 U-gouge tools, one large one and one small one. You also have a chisel, which is good for kind of flattening out raised areas. And then there's the knife tool, which is a Japanese knife used for cutting large shapes in mokohanga. I don't use it because I'd never been trained on it. I primarily use kind of a Western tradition of gouging. There's another set of tools called Flex Cut, and this one happens to have interchangeable blades with just a singular handle, and it works equally well. Both of these sets are fairly inexpensive for the quality that you get. The quality is incredible with both of these sets, and so I highly recommend you use one of these two for wood cutting. It'll just make it much more pleasurable. You can save a lot of money, but you're going to be a lot more frustrated and spend a lot more time. Both of these come incredibly sharp, and the main thing that you want to do is maintain the sharpness of the blade while you're working. Now, sharpening is different than honing. Sharpening is essentially reforming the edge and making the blade sharp again once it gets really, really dull. That is incredibly difficult to do well. The easiest thing to do is keep your blade sharp while you're working on them. And to do that, you can just hone the blade. Now, honing involves a strip of leather and a sharpening or honing compound, right? And all I'm going to do is put the honing compound on the leather and then pull the blade against the honing compound to essentially polish it. Right? You can see I'm not going back and forth. I'm picking up the blade, putting it back down, and I'm dragging it towards me. And I want to do that on either side of this V-gouge blade. If you hone your blade every half an hour, 20 minutes, somewhere like that, while you're carving, it will keep your blade incredibly sharp, and you will feel the difference. This is a pretty inexpensive little tool to get, and I got just a little set that came with different honing compounds. I believe it was like a fine, a medium, and a coarse, and I usually use the kind of the green one, the middle of the road. For your U-gouges, you want to do the same thing, pulling against one side of the blade, and then I'm going to rotate it a little bit and then pull against another side of the blade. Because it's rounded, only part of that blade is being honed at a time, so I want to gradually get all of that rounded surface. And so you can start on one end and pull against the honing compound several times, then turn it a little bit, pull against the honing compound again several times, and you can see it's turning black here, right? So that metal is being polished to keep it incredibly sharp for when I go to cut. That is much, much easier than trying to sharpen a blade. The only time you want to sharpen a blade is when you've chipped or broken the edge, or it is so dull that honing doesn't make any difference.